So, a very good evening to one and all present here. Today, we'll be learning how to write an essay in 5 simple steps. Okay. Now, see, children, whenever you start writing an essay, you have to make sure that the first line that you use there is very impactful. Okay. See, just a second. So you have to remember that the first line will be the attention catcher. Now, if you write your first line in a very beautiful and in a very impactful way, then surely what will happen is that whoever is reading your essay, that person, she or he would really like to read your essay further. Okay. But for that, what has to happen is that your, tell me. So what has to happen is that your first line has to be the attention catcher. Okay. Okay. Understood? All right. Now, see, children, whenever you write an essay, what happens is that you have 3 things to be kept in mind. Okay. The first line will be, see, introduction. Okay. Body. Then you have your conclusion. Okay. So you have to remember that whatever you're writing in the very start, that is very impactful. What happens is that when you write an essay, you have written a long essay of, say for example, you've written an essay of 2-3 pages. Now, who will like to read those 2-3 pages if your very starting line is not interesting? If you write that line in a very boring manner, then no one would like to read your essay. Okay. But you know, if you've written that line in a very interesting manner, you have like given certain quotations in the start, you have framed a story, like in the form of a story, you're writing an essay, you're going to start that essay. So whoever is checking your essay, that person will think that yes, I should read on further because I think that, you know, further also this person has written a very interesting essay and I really want to read that essay. Okay. But for that, what has to happen is that your first line, okay, remember children, first line has to be in such a manner that it is very, like, you know, eye-catching. It is quite, you know, attractive. Like we say, feast to the eye. Okay. So that has to be there. Like in the very start, you have to be quite innovative, you have to be quite creative, and then you have to write the first line. Okay. Now, let us move on further. There are basically 3 ways to grab the attention of the reader through the first line itself. Okay. See, like, you know, there are a number of ways in which you can grab the attention of the reader, whoever is reading your essay. Okay. So the first thing is that begin with a beautiful quote or a statement. Okay. What you can do is that you can like begin your essay with a beautiful quote. You know, there are a number of quotes on Google. You can Google search the quote or you can Google search any beautiful statement. For example, you have got a topic like say best friend. Okay. So you know many quotes like, you know, best friends are connected heart to heart. Distance or time doesn't break them apart. So for example, this is a quote. Okay. So what you can do is that you can start with this quote. Okay. And when you start with this quote, what will happen is that it will create a very positive impact. Okay. You know, whoever is checking your essay, that person will actually want to, you know, read on further. But that can only happen when you have given a very innovative start to your essay. You have given a very innovative or a creative start to your essay. Okay. Second is that, see, one way is that in which, you know, you can begin your essay with a beautiful quote or with a beautiful statement. Okay. Second way is that in which you can begin your essay by start asking of a question. Okay. You can put any question. Okay. example, you have got a topic like, best friend. Okay. So now you have to write an essay on best friend. So you can start asking a question. Okay. Who is your best friend? Who all are best friends? What is a best friend? What is the true meaning of the best friend? So like, you can engage the person who is reading your essay. And when that person finds that yes, your essay, your starting line is quite interesting, that person will actually, he will be willing to read your essay further. But what has to happen is that, but for that, your first line has to be very creative. It has to be very innovative. Only then it can happen. Okay. Now, so what we have done till now is that we have started our essay, and like, we are writing an essay. We've started it with a very beautiful quote or a statement. See, children, I told you that there are three things. Okay. Introduction, body, and conclusion, isn't it? So what you have to see is that in the introduction, you have to write a very beautiful, starting line has to be very beautiful. So the first line, I'm telling you the characteristics, like, how you can write your first line. So I told you first thing is that you begin with a beautiful quote or a statement. Okay. So you can start with a beautiful quote or a statement as I told you earlier. Okay. Second thing that you can do is that you can start off by asking a question. Okay. So, children, when you ask a question in your essay, what will happen is that will try to engage your reader to read on further. Okay. Only then he will be willing to check your essay further. So you can ask any question. Just put up a simple question in your essay, and try to be. Third is that, or start with your own creative line. I think we all are creative in our own ways, right? uh, you know, we have got our imaginations with us. So what we can do is that we can start our essay with our own creative line. You can frame any creative line of your own, and you can write that in your essay. But you should always remember that line has to be very creative, very innovative, a different line. Okay. The thing that has to be kept in mind here is that line which you are starting, it doesn't has to be boring, because children, see, we always say that, first impression is the last impression, isn't it? So if your first line is boring, no one would like to read your essay further. Okay, remember this. But what happens is that if your first line is quite interesting, quite creative, okay, you're putting up questions, then you have written a very creative line, then you are starting by asking a question. You have written a very beautiful quote, or you've written a very beautiful statement. And I think that leaves a very positive impact on the reader. The reader also wants to, read your essay. Why? Because you have started your essay with a very creative line. You've started your essay, by asking a question, a simple question. Then you've started your essay by a beautiful quote that, the reader will also say, yes, this child has a good understanding of the topic, and there is something different. Because see, there are certain children who do not include these. Okay, like, just directly start by writing an essay, and these children do not include the quotes or the statement. They do not ask any question. Third is that they do not put up a creative line on their own. Okay, so what happens is that when they're directly starting an essay, the examiner will have, he will get bored. He will get tired of reading and reading and reading those essays without any creative thing in them. But for example, if you have written your essay with all these things, like with all these points keeping in mind, so that will attract your examiner to really read it further. You can even get bonus marks. Mind it. Yes. So one tip, if I would like to give from my side as well, that will be to, begin your essay in a very interesting way. Begin your essay in a very creative way, in a way in which, that essay becomes quite engaging, and, the person, whoever is reading, he or she really wants to read that essay further. And, also that person doesn't leave your essay in the start itself, Because when the start will not be great, how can the ending be great? Isn't it? So children, I hope you've understood these 3 points. Okay. So how you have to begin your essay, and I hope you've understood what points you have to inculcate here, because that will form the first impression on your examiner or on whoever is checking your essay, whoever teacher. Okay. Now we have finished with one thing, that is, your introduction. Now, children, I told you an essay comprises of, basically it comprises of 3 things. Okay. The first thing is your introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay. Now, the things which you have to include in the introduction, I already told you all of them, isn't it? Now, the second thing is that your body. Okay. Now, what you have to include in that middle paragraph, that is also very important. Okay. So you have to also see that your middle paragraph is also quite engaging. Try to connect your introduction and your middle paragraph together so that it also forms a link. It should not be abrupt. Okay. See, now, why middle paragraph is quite important. Now, you will say, ma'am, why we have to write a middle paragraph? You just told that introduction was important. See, children, your examiner has read your introductory line, right? But what you are going to tell about that topic, whatever you have got in the essay, that will completely depend on your middle paragraph, because the middle paragraph is providing you a particular space, okay, to express yourself. See, you cannot write everything in the start itself. You cannot write everything at the end itself. Why? Because those are simply meant for introduction, and further I will tell you how to write a good conclusion as well. But you can take your points, and you can you can take your own take. You can include your points which you want to write about that essay in the middle paragraph. So basically what happens is that in the middle paragraph, the position that is allocated for to express your own points is your middle paragraph. So you get a chance to express yourselves on whatever topic you've got in the middle paragraph. And also remember, as you can see in the presentation, the middle paragraph acts as the main pillar. Okay, whatever thoughts you have regarding the topic, so children, you can include those thoughts regarding the topic in the middle paragraph. Why? Because middle paragraph is acting as a main pillar. Okay, that forms the main pillar of the entire essay. Because see, you're actually getting a space to express yourself. As I told you earlier, you cannot write everything at the start. You cannot write everything towards the end, right? You also need a space to express yourself, and that will actually form the main pillar of your essay. All right. So the question was, ma'am, why middle paragraph is important? Middle paragraph is important because it acts as the main pillar. Okay, it will tell your examiner or whoever is checking your essay that this child thinks these particular things about the topic. Okay, so for example, you have been given to write an essay on the topic my best friend. Okay, so you can include all the qualities of your best friend in that middle paragraph that will act as a main pillar. You can tell who is your best friend. You can define her. Okay, you can tell your memories, whatever memories you have had with your best friend in that middle paragraph itself. Okay, because that will act as the main pillar. And second thing is that, see children, you have written a good introduction. You have started your introductory line with a very good quote, with a very good statement, but your middle paragraph is completely incomplete. If that is quite boring, you have to make that middle paragraph quite engaging also. Okay, so what happens is that it also leaves a good impression. If you try to add whatever information you have regarding the topic of your essay in the middle paragraph, so that also tries to leave a very good impression on the reader, on the examiner, both. Okay, now third thing is that, see, we've talked about the first thing, that is it acts as a main pillar. We've talked about the second thing, that is it leaves a good impression. The third thing is that framework of logical ideas. Okay. Now, you do not have to write anything which is illogical, which is irrelevant. Okay. Which is not related to the topic. See, for example, you have been told to write an essay on your best friend, and you start writing an essay on your sister, on your mother, on your father. Okay, if your mother and father is your best friend, or if your sister is your best friend, that's fine. But if they're not your best friend, and you start writing any random things on any topic, that would become irrelevant, isn't it? It will also become quite illogical. So you should always remember that whatever you are writing in that essay is to the point. Okay, whatever points you are including in the essay, they are to the point, and you should give a very logical framework of ideas. The ideas, whatever you think, they reflect in your writing. Okay, so first of all, one very important thing is also that you should think in a very correct manner. Okay, you should understand a topic. See, whenever a topic is given to you, if you understand the topic, then I think things become easier for us, because we know what the examiner is expecting from us. So whenever a topic is given to you, just give yourself 2 minutes to think about the topic. Now, when you think about the topic, you can think any quote or statement to start your essay with in that time itself. Second thing is that you can also think about what all points you're going to include in your middle paragraph. Okay, then why middle paragraph is important, I told you. Let's revise. It acts as a main pillar, it leaves a good impression, and the framework of logical ideas. All right, now can you see the child sitting and writing there? That child, yes, the pencil, the child who is holding the pencil and the paper, and he's trying to think. Okay, creation of impact for middle paragraph. So first, you always think about good points, whatever points are logical, and then only you try to inculcate those points in the essay. Okay, now we have talked about how to start your essay, that is your introduction. Second thing is that we have talked about your middle paragraph, okay, which should be quite logical. Okay, the third we're going to talk about supportive details and facts. Can you see on the screen? Okay, there you can see it's written supportive details and facts. Now, whatever topic you've got of an essay, what you should do is that you should also include certain facts, certain data. Because what happens is that if you just write an essay on any topic without including any facts, any details, any data, so basically the thing is that that topic becomes quite wrong, because you have not given any details to support your statement. Okay, you have not given any fact to support your statement. All right, but when you put on fact, when you put on the details, then that also shows to the examiner that yes, this particular child has a lot of details about the topic. He has certain logical points about the topic. Okay, so always think of this supportive details. In fact, see, why the word supportive is written here. You cannot just write any random detail. You cannot just write any random fact. Okay, whatever fact, whatever details you are including, they have to be quite supportive. Only when they are supportive, then only you can try to engage the examiner or the reader of your essay to, yes, you can prove that yes, please read on further. I have also included certain facts, certain details. Details and facts have to be related to the topic. You children, you have to remember this. Okay. Now, tips for creating a strong, bold line. Okay. Now, just let us just talk about what are the tips in which you can create a strong essay line, a bold line. Okay. Now there are 3 tips. If you can see on the screen, there are 3 tips, children. Tip 1, tip 2. We will be talking about all the tips. Number 1. Tip number 1. Always write what's relevant with the topic. I told you earlier also, if your topic is best friend, and if you have started writing about anything other than your best friend, then that essay becomes illogical. Why? Because the topic is best friend, but you have started writing about other things, then that doesn't make sense. Okay. But if you have been given your topic of best friend and if you start writing various points on best friend, that will make sense. Okay. So always write what is relevant with the topic. Tip number 2 is that support the opening statement with some other sentences. You should always try to support your opening statement with other sentences as well. Okay. And okay, just give me a minute. Tip number 3, include introductory topic sentences. Okay. Number 4, now you have written your introduction. I've told you about your middle paragraph. Okay. I've told you about, how to write your middle paragraph. Okay. And how to put forward your supporting details and facts. The next thing is that, children, concluding line. Okay. Concluding line has to be the line. How? See, can you see here the child is saying it is always easy to start then to end. That is correct. Coming to the conclusion point, give your thoughts on the topic, key solutions to the present issues relevant with the topic, and finally leave a concluding line. Okay. See, children, you've got a topic. Okay, come on. Let us just revise. Okay, we've got a topic. We've written the introduction. We've written the main paragraph. Okay, we've included all the details and all the facts. See, what happens is that there are two things: problem and a solution. Okay, you raise your problem, you raise your issue regarding the topic in the essay where? In the middle paragraph. Okay, but you will also have to provide supportful, thoughtful answers to it, isn't it? So those answers to the problems raised in the essay are provided where? In the conclusion. Okay, so you can see here, coming to the conclusion point, give your thoughts on the topic, key solutions. Okay, can you see this word? Solution to the present issues relevant with the topic. And finally, you can give a concluding line. Hence, therefore, you can use these words and you can give your concluding line. Okay. After conclusion also comes your summary. Like, summary is basically a gist. Okay. So, introduction written your middle paragraph, give all the details and facts. Okay. 4th, written your conclusion, and number 5 is your summary. Okay, we have also revised everything. Okay. Now, so you can see table of content. We learned first line, middle paragraph, supportive details and facts, concluding paragraph, and the summary. Okay. A few examples of good first line. I will read out these, like, how you can write your first line. Creativity, if your essay is on creativity, so you can say in the 21st century where everything is modernizing, we all came along. Second, if your essay is on like a quote or a statement, okay, character is more important than money. Or a question, so are we all still capable of bringing something sustainable in this world? Like I told you that you can begin your essay with the question itself, right? So this can be an example of the question. Now, write 3 different introductory sentences for the topic. Is internet a boon or a pain? So you can test your skills, you can test whatever you have learned. So you can do this. Okay. Now, pros and cons. Now, the middle paragraph has to include pros and cons, like the advantages and the disadvantages as well. So the middle paragraph must contain sentences which are relevant to the topic. Come up with suitable pros and cons of the topic. Sentences should be logical and rational. Very important. Okay. Now, you can test your skills again. You can write 3 different middle paragraphs of 5 lines each on the topic, is internet boon or a pain, to test that whatever you have learned Have you learned or not? Have you been able to grasp each information which I told you right now or not? Okay, let's move on further. Now, I told you, children, that after writing your introduction, you have to write a middle paragraph, but after that, you have to give in supportive details, right? So, as you can see here, supportive details makes essay more effective, adding facts relevant to the topic, elaborating it in detail, comparing it with the present scenario, give other good facts and examples. So choose the best supportive line for internet is a boon or a bane. You can choose internet acted as a god gift in COVID-19. Internet is always our friend in need. Internet is not world's best creation. Internet is really a boon than a bane. Okay, so you can choose the best supportive line here. Now, you can write 3 supportive statements. Is internet a boon or a bane? You can test your skills. Based on the idea given on how to write an essay or a paragraph, it's now time to test your skills. How do you use your brain? So there you can say, so today our assignment is to write an essay on, is internet a boon or a bane? You have to write the essay in 250 words. You can do your assignment. Okay. Now what you learned today? So today we learned how a paragraph is structured, how to add stronger sentences, creating beautiful lines, supporting it with examples and facts, mentioning pros and cons, and finally drawing a conclusion. Always remember, slowly and steadily wins the race. Okay, or slowly and steadily only wins the race. All right. Okay. So we've come to the end of the topic today. Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's session.